Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston mutually agreeing to part ways with the company. And yeah, man, a lot of people had a problem with this, Micah. But I think I got two questions for you. One, where do you think the New Day lands all time when it comes to WWE tag teams? Let me just hit you with that first, Mike.
Well, I think all time. Now, if we're talking tag teams, are we talking a specific like Kofi and Xavier, or are we just
They
talking
had
about the
no.
group?
Well, hold up now. They had a free bird rule, so you could pick any two.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, if we're going off that regard, then I'll count all three. I'm gonna say probably top five. Obviously, just WWE wise, you have to throw the Usos in there. Solely accolades, main eventing WrestleMania. It just, the Usos got to be in there. I'd probably throw the Hart Foundation in there as well. Um, the Steiner brothers are great, but I don't know that they made such an impact in WWF, but maybe. Uh, the Road Warriors obviously have to be in there. And then, yeah, I could probably see the New Day fitting somewhere in there. Respectfully, like, I know it's going to be a hot take, right? But the New Day is over the Shield. The Shield may mean more in terms of the main event
yeah.
scene and how that was shaped afterwards. But for what the New Day actually accomplished as a faction, it means so much more than what the Shield accomplished in their like year and a half to 2 year run.
I think I think New Day is definitely top two. I put them in that two range. Usos number one. Just by the longevity they were together, Micah, and the reactions they got continuously throughout their run. They they of course got to host WrestleMania. They had one of the most talked about storylines at WrestleMania with Kofi Mania, and New Day was a pivotal part of that mid 2010s era for the WWE. It made a lot of those Raws watchable. I know a lot of people don't like the New Day; it's not their cup of tea, but at 2015, 2016 WWE Raw, we were starving. We wanted something entertaining. They were, for the most part, the most entertaining thing on the show. But Micah, they got their own cereal, Bootios. That was on the shelf right next to the John Cena Fruity Pebbles. Who else can say they had their own cereal as a WWE superstar? Who else can say that?
Like it's like you said, them and Cena.
That's it. Yeah. So I think history's gonna look back on them fondly, but Micah, how can we miss you if you don't go away? It was time when the heel run that they had didn't stick, didn't really get the booking that it probably deserved. It was time. They had nothing else to do. They were just wandering around with Grayson Waller.
Yeah. I I feel the same way, and that's why like I understand why there is backlash towards
Backlash.
WWE at backlash. We'll get to that later. Um I understand why because it is kind of scummy for them to go to these guys that have been there and paid their dues and done so much for WWE for the past 15 to 20 years to be like, "Hey, we don't really think you're worth this much."
Hmm.
And
Well,
I
hold up now.
commend.
Don't jump the gun now. Don't step on my next question, Michael. Let me hit you with it real quick. Hold up. Stay right
well
there. Stay
well I
right there.
can
Okay, well land your plane. Land your plane.
Well, I was gonna say I can kind of backtrack this into where I'm going,
Okay, go
but
ahead.
before that, like you said, with the storyline stuff, whenever they don't have anything for them, because we talked about the New Day turn was one of the best moments of
Yeah,
WWE,
yeah.
and that really culminated with a match against the War Raiders at WrestleMania 41. Like, are we for real?
Yeah,
So
it needed Big E for that.
Yeah, and it didn't have Big E. They didn't put enough stock into him, and like you said, if there's nothing left for you to do, and there's really not, they're not going to put Kofi in the main event scene at this point. They've got all this young talent coming in. Same with Xavier. It's time. And I know that sucks, but the term WWE lifer is a very new gen thing. That's not a thing that has been around forever. So when everybody's like, "Oh, I thought Kofi would be like a WWE lifer," like, brother, he's been there 18 years. That's about the WWE lifer limit,
Yeah,
unless you are a Undertaker, John Cena, somebody like that. Like it's the same with Dolph and Sheamus and guys like that. 18 to 20 is a crazy time to last in the company. They accomplish so much. And especially with this new crop of talent that you see, guys like Trick, like Oba, even the ladies like Lash Legend, which some of that can also fall on Bianca and Sasha for another time. But Kofi is a trailblazer in that regard.
yeah, yeah. And then he just towards the end there was really nothing else you could do with Kofi except be a gatekeeper to like the mid card maybe, but even at that point we've seen what Kofi Kingston can do. And we got so many of these new guys coming in. There's only so much TV time, Micah. We gotta get our ads in. So we don't want anybody to lose their job here on the podcast, but we gotta be realistic. As a company, we're not running Make a Wish, and guys aren't guaranteed a job for life. That's just the way it is. They got as much equity out of the New Day as they possibly could. The New Day outkicked their coverage. The New Day exceeded their ceiling. They weren't supposed to be in that spot. They weren't supposed to be the second greatest tag team of all time. Micah, if you don't, if I we got younger listeners out there, New Day started out as a kind of like a pseudo type preacher positivity type gimmick, but what they morphed into exceeded all expectations, and it was just three buddies having fun, and it translated through the screen, and they made a lot of money off merch, and they had almost every accomplishment you can have as a tag team and as a single stars. Woods was the king of the ring. Kofi won WWE championship. Big E won WWE championship. These guys, they weren't supposed to be in that spot, and they exceeded all expectations. Nothing but props to those guys. But at the end of the day, it's time. 18 years Kofi had, and I think Woods had 16 or maybe 15 years. There's nothing else that you could have done with them. Where do you think Kofi and Xavier land from here?
Well, I think that by all intents and purposes, the online uh, discourse seems to point them towards AEW. I think AEW does have the most healthy tag division. However, let's be honest, the Hurt Business went over there and they got over, and now what's the Hurt Business doing? But currently, the tag team division at the top is FTR and Edge and Christian.
Oh, Kofi Christian
So,
Cage.
oh yeah, excuse me. So, what exactly? Like, I need to know what they're gonna do with the New Day once they get them. Because if it's just gonna be a couple matches with the Young Bucks and then they're shoved on Collision, is that really that much better? Because I feel like those guys could go to TNA, and I know everybody hates TNA because they call it WWE Light, but I feel like those guys could go to TNA and be the biggest stars in the arena when TNA is there. And I feel like with AEW, they're just never going to be the top of the line guys. They may get a world tag title, run or two, but I just don't think AEW is going to put enough into their stock.
I can just picture it now, Micah. They show up. They'll probably have a mandatory, fed bad, free from the shackles promo. They'll interact with Cope or Omega, like a Jericho, maybe Orange Cassidy. They'll interact with, and they'll probably face some vanilla little people on Dynamite, and then they'll feud with the Bucks, and then they'll feud with, like you said, FTR, find the remote, and then after that, Collision Purgatory. I can just picture it now. That's the layout. That's the blueprint.
And I just can't. I can't want that for these guys because when Shelton and Bobby got there, they were so over. They were one of the things I was tuning in for, and then it was like, well, you got too over for us. And I know they got hurt, and that kind of derailed a couple things. But now, like you said, Collision Purgatory, and despite what Meltzer wants you to believe, Brian Alvarez will tell the truth about it. Over half the people that watch Dynamite don't watch Collision, and I would be included in that half because until I see something that makes me want to tune into Collision instead of Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong chicken fighting, I'm gonna stay on Dynamite.
And it's a shame too because Kofi and Xavier, they still can go. And my fear is when they get to AEW, which I'm sure we all know that's where they're gonna land, that they could be doing so much more, and they're just gonna be, doing the layout that we just gave them. And if they went to like a TNA or anywhere else, MLW, they still run shows. They would be treated like such way bigger stars and use way more of what they should be, how they should be being used. You know what I'm saying, Micah? Like Woods
Yeah.
can Woods can be world champion, man. Look at Woods. Woods has everything. That's one of the ones that I hate that he never got that real solo run on the main roster.
Yeah, because he has all the tools, and I mean, I'm sure me and you have been fans of him since freaking Consequences Creed all the way back in the TNA days.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I just think that again, it's kind of what do you want from the New Day when they leave? Do you want them to just be another team in the AEW tag division, and they may tell a story or two here a year, and then, like you said, Collision Purgatory. And I'm not saying that is where the New Day should be. I'm just saying, like you said, we've seen the formula. Or would you rather go to TNA, be the world champion, maybe be a two-man power trip type deal, let Kofi get the X division, something in there, and maybe it's just a different flavor, but
Yeah.
only time will tell.
I've been seeing people online fantasy book. What they joined the hurt business? Like, are we still doing
Oh,
that?
here we go.
Are we still doing this?
It's the final. Matter of fact, this is the final like chapter of that, right? The Hurt Business and the New Day join together to be the be all end all group for all black talent.
Hey man, that would get over. You're joking, but that'll get over.
I mean, it would get over. It's just funny that now they
That's
can finally
always,
combine the two.
yeah. We just got to put those guys together. I don't know why. They just seem like they belong together.
No reason.
Yeah, no reason why.
Uh,
It's very interesting too, Micah, because when Kofi, he sent out a tweet a couple days ago, and he did not thank WWE whatsoever. So maybe Kofi has a chip on his shoulder. He wants to go prove something, but